Ready? All right, welcome everybody. I'd call this meeting to order. Today is Monday, April 10th. This is a regular city commission meeting. I get Deputy City Clerk Latanya Harris for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Mercer. Here. Commissioner Yates.
Here.
Commissioner Powell.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong.
Here.
And Mayor Dantzler.
Here. Our invitation tonight will be led by Elder John Hallman from St. Paul's Worship Center in Winter Haven. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Latanya Harris, our Deputy City Clerk. Please stand to favor.
Will you pray with me? Eternal God, first of all, we come to you saying thank you for this evening. God, that you would bring us together once again. God, we thank you for the great city of Winter Haven. Thank you for all of our leaders. I pray now, God, that you would bless this meeting on tonight. God, that it be beneficial for all citizens of this area. I pray even now, God, that you would bless our leaders, that the decisions that are made, God, that they would take the charity in which you have put on the inside of them. God, that it will benefit all men. We thank you tonight for what you're about to do. We give your name praise, honor, and glory. And God, I want to end this praise, this prayer, same way we began it, by telling you thank you once again in advance for what you're about to do in all of our lives. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we've got three presentations / proclamations. So what we'll do is the four commissioners will go down front here and I'll ask our city manager to read these for us.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, our proclamation reads as follows. Whereas Florida is committed to improving the lives of all Floridians and securing a better future for the citizens of this state. And whereas children who have had adverse childhood experiences are at a higher risk of short and long-term physical, psychological, and behavioral challenges that can impact the individual child and the greater community. And whereas parents and caregivers who have resources and support are better equipped to give their children safe and nurturing experiences. And whereas children have better mental health and physical health and academic success when they are raised in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas the Florida Department of Children and Families Secretary has a vision for holistic services by integrating systems and services. And whereas the state of Florida has established Hope Florida, a pathway to prosperity, a personalized approach to helping families overcome barriers to self-sufficiency through community collaboration. And whereas Floridians can call 850-300-HOPE to speak with a care navigator for support to develop a plan to achieve economic self-sufficiency, referrals to local partners, and help identifying goals and barriers in their lives. And whereas during the month of April, Prevent Child Abuse Florida, in collaboration with Governor's Office of Adoption and Children and Child Protection, the Florida Department of Children and Families, and the OUNSA Prevention Fund of Florida implements Pinwheels for Prevention, statewide coordinated campaign to raise awareness of child abuse prevention efforts by teaching about healthy child development and positive parenting practices and establishing circle of parent peer support groups. And whereas Child Abuse Prevention Month provides everyone a chance to learn how they can play a role in preventing abuse and neglect, including adverse childhood experiences. And whereas Child Abuse Prevention Month reminds Floridians of all ages that they can help children increase positive childhood experiences, which lead to happier, healthier childhoods. Now, therefore, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby declare April 2023 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the City of Winter Haven. In witness whereof, he is hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, to be affixed this 10th day of April 2023. Signed, Mayor Dantzler. Attest, Latanya Harris, Deputy City Clerk.
Thank you. And I love that you all have your pinwheels up. So I have a quick response. My name is Katie M. Parchman. I'm with Heartland for Children. And thank you for proclaiming April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. We appreciate the involvement of Polk County in the Pinwheels for Prevention campaign each year. We are delighted that many cities, schools, and county municipalities are displaying pinwheels, like the one we have in our hands, and talking about what they can do to strengthen families and keep children safe. Pinwheels for Prevention uses a simple child's toy, a blue and silver pinwheel, to remind us of the happy and healthy childhoods that all children deserve, and to also remind us that everyone plays a vital role in keeping children safe. Heartland for Children is proud to be the lead community-based care agency under the Department of Children and Families. We are passionate about child safety and strengthening families through services and referral. To give you a better understanding of the families we serve, here is some data. The total number of children with open child welfare cases in Polk, Highlands, and Hardy counties, which is the 3 area that we cover, as of March of 2023 is 2,085 children. The total number of children removed from homes in the Tri-County area due to abuse neglect last fiscal year, 21-22, was 656 children. And then the total number of children removed from homes in the Tri-County area due to abuse, neglect, or threatened harm so far this fiscal year, 22-23, is 469 children. Total number of traditional foster homes in the Tri-County area is 191, with 1 being in Hardy County, 9 being in Highlands County, and 180 being in Polk County. For the fiscal year of 21-22, we had 223 children who were adopted in our Tri-County area. And we are hopeful to reach that number this fiscal year and have already secured forever homes for 109 children. So please visit our adoption gallery on Heartland for Children's website for more information in the event that you're interested in adopting a child out of the system. During the month of April, we encourage you to display pinwheels and share information with others through conversation and social media about child abuse prevention. We ask that you wear your Pinwheel for Prevention lapel pin and that we provided you. We want our community to understand that together we can have a huge impact on children in our community. Thank you again for your commitment, especially to Winter Haven.
Mayor and Commissioners, also like to point out Katie is a graduate of your City University Class 1. So she is an alumni. Our next proclamation this evening is for Donate Life Month. Whereas one of the most meaningful gifts that a human being can bestow upon another is the gift of life. And whereas over 103,000 men, women, and children are currently on the national waiting list for organ transplantation, of which nearly 4,900 reside in Florida. And whereas 42,888, a record number of transplants, occurred in the calendar year 2022, thanks to the generosity of 21,370 deceased and living donors, of which 3,064 transplant patients and 1,230 deceased and living donors were from Florida. And whereas more than 2.5 million people throughout the country and in Florida benefit annually from tissue transplantation thanks to thousands of tissue donors. And whereas the need for organ, eye, and tissue donation remains critical as new patient is added to the national waiting list for an organ transplant every 10 minutes. And each day, roughly 20 people die due to the lack of available organs. And whereas more than 12 million Floridians have already registered their decision to give the gift of life through organ and tissue donation at www.donatelifeflorida.org or on their driver's license. And whereas LifeLink of Florida, the nonprofit organization dedicated to the recovery of organs and tissue for transplantation therapy in Florida, with a mission to honor donors and save lives through organ and tissue donation. Now, therefore, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, does hereby proclaim April 2023 as Donate Life Month. in the city of Winter Haven and encourages all residents to consider giving life through organ donation and to sign up on Florida's organ and tissue donor registry by visiting www.donatelifeflorida.org or when renewing their driver's license or state identification card. In witness whereof, he is here to set his hand and cause the seal of the city of Winter Haven, Florida to be affixed this 10th day of April, 2023, signed Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor, and attested by Latanya Harris, Deputy City Clerk.
I just wanted to say a few words in thanks. My name is Christine. I'm a donor mom. My son Chris became a donor in January of 2012. He was a graduating senior and a new recruit of the Marines. He saved 4 lives. I've become friends with his heart recipient, Alex. Alex is currently doing great and is very thankful for his second chance at life and for each day he has with his family. I strongly encourage everyone to register as donors and also to become volunteers. I talk about my son every opportunity I have. I've met so many wonderful people and hopefully have helped someone with the loss of their loved one. Please discuss donation with your family and friends. You can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you.
One, two, three. One more.
And our third and final proclamation this evening will be accepted by Keely Carlton, Winter Haven Water's Program Administrator. Keely, if you want to come on up. This is for Water Conservation Month. Oh, she's bringing the troops with her. Whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature. And whereas the state of Florida's water management districts and the city of Winter Haven are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation. And whereas the city of Winter Haven and the state of Florida have designated April, typically a dry month when water demands are most acute, Florida's Water Conservation Month, to educate citizens about how they can save Florida's precious water resources. And whereas the city has always encouraged and supported water conservation through various educational programs, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water. And whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water and thus promote a healthy economy and community. And whereas leak prevention is commonly thought to be the first step in conserving water, the city of Winter Haven will encourage citizens and businesses to focus on fixing leaks. And whereas conserving water will help keep water rates affordable, help protect natural systems, and reduce the need for alternative water sources. Now, therefore, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby proclaim April 2023 as Water Conservation Month in the city of Winter Haven and calls upon each citizen and business to help protect our precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the need to save water. In witness whereof, he is here to set his hand and cause the seal of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, to be affixed this 10th day of April 2023. Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor. Attest Latanya Harris, Deputy City Clerk.
So I have my reasons why we need to conserve water right here with me for the future, obviously, and everything else that the proclamation says. Just a couple things. I want to say thank you guys again for your support again this year and your understanding of water conservation and why we need to do this. Without moments like this, without interns like Elliot, this is Elliot, and he is our water department intern right now, but he is so eager to learn and he actually helps tremendously with the water conservation program. And he has the smarts behind him to back up the water data and the savings now. So I do not do that. Don't have that that mind. He does. So now we have all of this data collection behind us. And I just really want to thank Elliot for all that he does. And it just shows that we, need that help, all those boots on the ground. And thank you guys for your complete understanding of water conservation. Thank you.
While they're coming up with their pictures, Mayor and Commissioners, Elliot is a intern with us from the University of Puerto Rico. So he is just sworn in with our water department earlier this year. So we're excited to have him on board.
1, 2, 3.
It's all up this evening. Thank you. Okay.
Going to make one suggestion about this, but I won't. Get rid of the silver and add orange. Okay, next up, we have developments of note. We have none. Minutes. Commissioners, you have in front of you the minutes from the February 27th regular city commission meeting, and March 8th. Agenda
Mayor.
review session minutes. Yes, sir.
Move approval of both sets of minutes.
We have motion to approve February 27th and March 8th minutes. Close city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public want to speak to any item on the minutes, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen city commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Minutes are adopted. Comments from the audience. Nobody signed up, but if there's anybody like to speak, this would be the good time to come forward now. Give us your name and address. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mervyn Stewart. I reside at 111 Broad Street, Winter Haven, Florida. It's the Hampton Cove subdivision. The reason that I'm here is because of my reclaimed water of the whole community, and I didn't know it was Water Conservation Month. Starting in February, intermittently, we were out of reclaimed water. And for the most of March, we were out. In the beginning of April, we were intermittently. We just got water back Thursday. I made numerous phone calls to the water department trying to find out what was occurring, and we kept getting told to go to the website. Website was not updated, so I'll call back and got a different answer each and every time. And I finally requested to speak to the supervisor, which she did call me back, very pleasant, and gave me as much information as she possibly could. But what was happening is it appeared that we had raw sewage coming up through the reclaimed water. I got some of my filters that I've pulled from a sprinkler head and clean. I've also had to have someone come in and put a filtration system on my reclaimed water to hopefully filter out some of the trash. Now, what I'm asking is some type of resolution to this. Because since the water have come back on, I also have photos where my sprinkler guy was out today, and the filtration system they put in, the large filter was completely clogged again. I'm not a representative of our HOA board, but our sprinkler system that waters our common area is also having the same problem. Me and one of my neighbors looked at sprinkler heads, they're clogged also. Now, on the website, it says that it's gonna be a case-by-case scenario as far as who get reimbursed. I really don't agree with that because the whole community is impacted by this issue. One of my other neighbors that I spoke with, I showed him how to pull the sprinkler heads to get them clean. And by being new to it, he did not hold on to the top of it, and the spring went right down into the sprinkler. The water flushed up in his face. He was down 6 days sick with diarrhea and other things. Now, I don't know if that water is what caused it, but all the water was brown. My filters have toilet paper in some of them. I've went out and repurchased sprinkler heads and rotating sprinklers and replaced them. And as of today, they're all clogged again. So I was just looking for a resolution to what we can do. And that case-by-case scenario that's on the website. I would hope that you all will look into it and look at the entire community and see what we can do to resolve it.
Mr. Mayor, Gary Hubbard is here this evening, so I'm going to ask Gary if you would speak with this gentleman. Gary's the director of Winter Haven Water. We'll share with you what you're getting into your sprinkler heads is actually a biofilm from the inside of those pipes. It is not raw sewage. It is not toilet paper. It is the same type of product that you would see that would gather with an air conditioning vent or your drip line. It's that same type of biofilm that collects within that. Mr. Hubbard can give you some more explanation on that, but I want you to rest assured there is not raw sewage in your reuse lines. We have flushed all of our lines. We had stored water in there while our wastewater treatment plant was down, which produces the reuse water. So that causes some of that sediment to build up. We also had a connection from our wastewater treatment plant 3 reuse line that caused some of that biofilm to slough off of the interior of some of those pipes. And that's what residents are getting within their system. It's easy to look at it and confuse it with, you know, oh, this must be toilet paper. There's physically no way possible for toilet paper to be within the reuse line. It would not survive within that system. So it is the biofilm within there, but Gary can give you some more information on that, as well as how best to clean those filters and what we can do to rectify the problem there for you.
Okay, on the website, it said if you soak it in warm bleach water, it should do it. I got some that I soaked in warm bleach water overnight and it has not come out yet.
Okay, he can, he's the more scientific of that process, so I'll defer to the expert on that one.
Okay, well, thank you all for
Yes, sir.
listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Anybody else? Okay. Ordinance second reading. We have none. Consent agenda, commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
move approval of the consent agenda in its entirety.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety. I'll close city commission meeting, open a public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to any item on the consent agenda, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and reopen city commission meeting. Commissioners, any questions or comments on any item on the consent agenda? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion passes, consent agenda is adopted. Ordinance first reading, 12A on your agenda is 02318. It's a voluntary annexation of 3070 West Lake Hamilton Drive. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-18, an ordinance extending the corporate limits of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, so as to include therein additional territory lying contiguous and adjacent to the present boundaries of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, describing said additional territory, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. General location 3070 West Lake Hamilton Drive. The area covered by this request is 1.54 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, the petitioner is requesting the commission annex this parcel. Petitioner owns the 2 adjacent parcels which are located within the city and is seeking this annexation for the purpose of having all 3 in the same jurisdiction for future development. This is contiguous to the city in all directions, and this annexation will actually eliminate an existing enclave. Current taxable value for the property is $103,365. Expected annual tax revenue will be approximately $681. Additional revenue is expected upon the redevelopment of the property. Staff recommends City Commission approve ordinance O23-18 and move it forward to second reading.
Commissioners, any questions on 02318? All right, we will take this up on our meeting on April 24th. Thank you. 02319, it's an ordinance amending ordinance 02267, which is appropriating funds for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2023. City Attorney, would you by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-19, an ordinance of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, amending ordinance number O-22-67 regarding appropriation of funds for defraying expenses of the municipal government of the city of Winter Haven for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2022, providing for severability and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
You, City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, the general fund operated in fiscal year 22 with a surplus of $5,151,147, which increases the available fund balance to $22,581,371. The available fund balance equates to 38% of fiscal year 23 general fund budgeted expenditures. The city's policy requires the general fund's expenditures should not be less than 17%. The $22,581,371 ending fund balance exceeds the city's fiscal policy of 17% by $12,494,709. General funds fiscal year 23 surplus may be utilized to accommodate construction cost increases associated with the Winter Haven Recreation and Cultural Center to advance the redevelopment of that full site with new facilities. Staff is recommending the city commission approve ordinance 2319, approving a transfer of $5,151,147 of the general funds 23 fiscal year 23 surplus to the 2015 construction fund for the Winter Haven Recreation and Cultural Center project. Thank you.
All right, commissioners, any questions for staff? Okay, we will take this up on second reading on April 24th.
Thank
On, on new business, item 13A on your agenda, this is Dudney Plaza LLC Developers Agreement, city manager, city attorney, would you read that title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No title, and I'll defer to city manager.
City manager?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, I'm going to defer to Eric Labby. He has done most of the heavy lifting on this and ask him to present this item.
Yes, sir, Mayor, Commissioners. Mr. Terry Dudney is the registered agent for Dudney Plaza LLC. He recently purchased a property located immediately adjacent to a small city-owned parcel that is located at the southeast corner of First Street North and Palmetto Avenue Northeast. Mr. Dudney intends to incorporate the city-owned parcel as part of a redevelopment project within the Florence Villa CRA. It is consistent with the goals of the Florence Villa CRA plan. The project will include rehabilitation of one existing building and the construction of approximately 300 square feet of new retail/office space, parking, landscaping, and stormwater retention. The city-owned parcel is approximately 0.08 acres and is undevelopable given city regulations unless included as part of a land parcel assembly, which is what is being proposed. The proposed developers agreement authorizes the city manager to execute all documents necessary to facilitate the donation of the city-owned parcel by quitclaim deed with appropriate right of reverter clauses for the intended use. Provides Mr. Dudney 1 year from the approval of developers agreement to secure site plan approval for the project, and provides Mr. Dudney 1 year from site plan approval to commence construction of the project. Staff recommends approval of the developers agreement with Dudney Plaza LLC. I'll certainly stand for any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions for staff? Did you move that picture around a little bit further, T?
Which direction,
Yeah.
sir?
Yeah, the way you were going there, right there. Okay,
I'll just make a comment on that building that's there, that's owned by Mr. Dudney. That building looks nothing like that at this point. Mr. Dudney has already put in new paint, new windows. The stairs are cleaned up. This building looks like a 180 from what it did before.
And I would only add that the Florence Villa CRA assisted with a facade grant for that building.
We need a motion.
yeah, we need a motion.
Move approval of the Dudney Plaza LLC Developers Agreement.
Okay, I'll close city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this item, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, open the city commission meeting. Commissioners, any questions or comments on this? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed, like sign, motion passes. Another developers agreement for 610 LLC. Eric, you want to take this one again?
Sure. Mayor and Commissioners, 610 LLC has received site plan approval for the redevelopment of vacant buildings that are located along the east side of 4th Street Southwest between Avenue C Southwest and Avenue D Southwest. They're approved to be redeveloped into a restaurant, office, and retail space. Per the Land Development Code, the developer is exempt from providing off-street parking spaces in conjunction with this project due to its location within the C1 zoning district. However, pursuant to a proposed developers agreement, the developer will dedicate property necessary and construct 24 on-street parking spaces and a sidewalk along 4th Street Southwest and Avenue D Southwest. This is a sort of a recommendation that came out of the Walker parking analysis parking study that we engaged in a number of months ago, where we would partner with local developers with their projects to help increase the public inventory of public parking within downtown. Upon completion of construction, including inspections, the submittal of as-built drawings and deliverance of legal title in a form and manner acceptable to the city and the city attorney, the city shall reimburse the developer for actual design, engineering, and construction costs incurred by the developer associated with the construction of the 24 parking spaces. The reimbursement amount shall not exceed $180,000. Staff does recommend approval of the developer's agreement with 610 LLC. These are scheduled to be paid out of the 2021B, 2021C bond proceeds. We'll stand for any questions you may have.
Any questions, Commission? Brian?
Would these spaces be excluded from the current timed spaces? So these spaces wouldn't have any time limits?
At the moment, they're not contemplated to have any time limits. They would be available for any public parking.
Eric, talk to me about sidewalks here on Fourth Street.
They are required to be installed as per the approval of the site plan. Our code requires the installation of sidewalks.
Right, but I mean, I'm talking about in relation to the parking. I mean, because I know there's going to be on-street parking, right? Is there going to parking? Just walk me through that real quick.
Yeah, the sidewalk will be located behind the back of curb, behind the on-street parking.
So you have parking and then you'll have a sidewalk and then you'll have the development.
Yeah, and it will be, the sidewalk will be part of the area dedicated to the city, so it would be a public sidewalk.
It'll be a 3-foot sidewalk or 4?
5 foot,
5 foot? Okay. Is that code now or all 5 or?
I believe so. I'll double check with my staff, but I believe.
All right, well, this sounds like a good deal to me. Anybody questions or comments, commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
motion to approve the developers agreement with 610 LLC.
thank you. We have a motion to approve the developers agreement with 610. I'll close the city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this item, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen city commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion passes. All right, city commission liaison reports, Commissioner Yates.
Sure, I got a few things last couple of weeks to report on. One of which is I had the pleasure of attending the Neighborhood Service Center Easter brunch on Friday. And let me tell you, they'll put you to work if you go. So it was my pleasure. Got to empty some boxes, organize some donations for the food pantry and pass out some drinks. And it was just a pleasure being a part of that day and Easter and the early Easter celebration for that community. And the Neighborhood Service Center continues to fulfill its purpose and is a great thing for the Northeast community of Winter Haven. And I would say the pantry needs a little bit more stocking, and I'm going to try to make a couple of phone calls on that to see if we can't get some more donations for the food pantry there. Attended the Peace Annual Assembly. You know, we had one commitment to make, and that was a continued commitment to put towards our efforts to provide additional workforce and affordable housing for the Winter Haven community. And so that was obviously an easy commitment to make with the Peace Group. Ribbon cutting for Heart for Winter Haven. I think that was their 4th move. They are now at the kind of across the street from Inman Park where the racetrack is, the old Albertsons building. They occupy a portion of that building, and hopefully that'll be the last move for them for a little while. Also attended the Florenceville CDC Night for the Community. And I'll brag a little bit. I finally won my grill. I tried really hard last year, kept getting outbid. This year I bid enough to win the grill. I did bid on some cigars, and of course the city manager outbid me on those. So
Thanks for driving the price up.
you got it. Attended the Heart for Winter Haven golf tournament. That was a huge event this year for them. From what I could see, it was clearly a sellout. I think it was a record breaking year for them and bottom line receipts. So congratulations to Hartford Winter Haven for putting on a great event. Planning Commission meeting, attended that. I think they just had a couple of things on the agenda, so nothing earth shattering to report there. Attended a ribbon cutting for the new Geico Insurance. They're located on Cypress Gardens Boulevard, basically next to Tijuana Flats. So another insurance provider in the community, and that's not a bad thing. I think the more competition for insurance these days, the better, more opportunity to get the best price available in the market. Attended the Chamber Coffee and Conversation with Steve Warner. Learned a lot about some of the school plans for the community, specifically Elbert Elementary's big project that's coming forth, and then also the new elementary school that's in the very south portion. I think that's now been named South Point Elementary. That'll be under construction soon, and always great to hear from Steve and the progress that the Polk County school system is making.
South Point.
South Point.
South Point Elementary,
Well, where?
it's at corner of County Road 653 and Old Bartow Road, across from Reggie Baxter's development.
So that's in the city.
It's inside the city limits,
Okay.
yes, sir. It's at the very south point.
Very South Point.
And really what's cool about this elementary school is, I don't know if there's an aerial or projected layout of how this is going to be built. And the street for the car line, I think it's like 1.5 miles, 1.75 miles
For
long.
stacking, you mean?
For stacking. So it queues up all of the traffic off of the main road onto the school property. And again, every time I see Superintendent Hyde, that is one thing that I beg for Chain of Lakes Elementary, and they've got the land, and based upon Steve's comments, there was a chance that maybe there's a temporary roading that they can add in, some gravel area. Anything to queue that traffic up off of the main road is sorely needed. So hopefully Polk County School Boards will continue with that effort and those designs going forward to get those car lines off of the main roads to help.
Commissioner
the traffic
Yates,
congestion.
what I can do is I actually have a aerial of that I will send to the commissioners. Their principal provided me today. That school is slated to be operational for the 23-24 calendar year, school calendar year, meaning it will open in August, and it is well on its way.
And then finally, earlier this evening, attended the ribbon cutting for the EV chargers. I ended up in the parking garage for about 10 minutes until I realized it was the other chargers. So that's a good thing. You got so many chargers now, you don't know which ones to go to. So I think that is a step in the right direction for our community. And I will just say, I hope that we can look at some potential sponsorship opportunities for those machines. And I would really like to see those charging stations continue to be offered to the citizens and the visitors to Winter Haven at no cost through sponsorships. So just something that I would like to see happen going forward.
Amen. Tracy.
Okay, I attended along with the Commissioner Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong. We all attended the CDC banquet the night for the community. I don't know that any of us got any big items, did we? So a lot of little ones, but not so big ones. I also attended Peace at the Lakeland Resurrection Church. And as he said, we made the commitment to keep moving forward on affordable housing. I also attended the Polk Vision Smart Cities, and I found out we have 13 big trash bellies that are almost ready to go into a couple of new parks.
Tomorrow, they're supposed to
Tomorrow?
be installed.
Okay. That's news because we've been waiting on those for a long time. I guess they had trouble getting them.
I think it'd be very visible.
I don't know. They didn't talk about that, but
Are they very visible?
Yeah, we're gonna see them.
Oh, yeah, you'll definitely notice they're more boxy than what we see downtown. You know, the decorative round trash cans we have. These are smart trash cans. They compact and they notify staff when they're full so that we more efficiently use our time in emptying trash when it's most needed. But you'll see them around here at Carlton Music Area
Okay.
and MLK Park are the first deployments on that.
And- great. Sorry, I have one question on that in just a moment. So if we connect to the one trash can Wi-Fi wise in downtown, will we automatically connect to the other Wi-Fi trash cans throughout?
I'm going to say that that's a question that is far outside my level of expertise on smart trash, but we will pass that along to Hip Win. And I'm sure if there's an answer that he will pass that along.
Okay, also did the EV chargers and so I probably wouldn't go fully electric, but I probably would go half and half and cover bases on that. So I picked up a flyer, shows me all the electric cars that you can get. So and then I wanted to talk a little bit, since I received some calls this week about the trains, I wanted to talk a little bit about the trains. To most of the people who, some were pros, some were compliments, because they haven't had to wait very long, but I got one today. They had waited 11 minutes. And, but and looking at, we know about the train derailment in Ohio, and just reading about that, a lot today, the trains are longer. And I think one of those that derailed there was almost over a mile long. So with the need, I guess, for and the lack of rails, because a lot of those have been removed, they are now making the ones that are accessible, they're making the trains longer, and they're going to be longer and longer. So people are going to have to wait more, spend more time waiting for those to cross. So it doesn't look promising for the future, but also they are trying to pass federally some train safety legislation. So I guess we have our issues with the trains, but not as and the construction in that area too makes it even worse. So.
Commissioner Mercer, can I offer a comment if the
Mhm.
commission would allow me? I had an opportunity with, speaking of trains, with Bruce Lyon, the president of our Winter Haven Economic Development Council, to meet with CSX 2 weeks ago on a Friday on their property. And there's a lot to be said about how CSX operates their rail. I will tell you, and this is really just to kind of dismiss some of the rumors or myths that are there regarding CSX and trains. There are 2 trains that come in and out of Winter Haven daily that are associated with CSX. There's a train that comes in at 6:15 in the morning, and there's a train that goes out at 10:45 at night. Those are not the only trains on those tracks, but those are the CSX trains, the double stacked container trains that you see. Those trains have been averaging at length about 9,000 feet, is what the person in charge of the CSX operations had shared with us. And the way that they decouple, they actually pull that train all the way across Pollard or Eagle Lake Loop, Eloise Loop Road there, get it all the way into their yard, and their decoupling process basically backs it into different tracks there. They spend the better part of the day loading, offloading, and reloading containers so that it can go back out that night, as I had mentioned at the time. There are a number of other short lines that utilize that. So there are trains that are hauling passengers, Amtrak to be specific. There are trains that are hauling bulk materials, whether that's rock, sand, liquids, whatever it may be. There are 15 plus different short lines that operate on there as well. And those can occur anytime throughout the day. But I've got some information with respect to the rail master for this region, who I'm making an effort to get in touch with, so we can learn more about that rail, just transit through our area, and hopefully be able to work together to find some solutions long term. Now, keep in mind that part of the Thompson Nursery Road realignment does include a flyover along the new route so that traffic is not impeded by the trains there. So that's several years out, but there are a number of different rail carriers is a point I really wanted to make there.
And I guess what I was trying to say about that is that 9,000 feet is over a mile, so. But anyway, it is part of our transportation system. It's part of our goods coming in and goods going out. So, you know, and so are the semi trucks because they offload to semis and that. It's just, you know, going to be part maybe of our culture from now on out, so.
I'm just wondering where the final destination of these trains.
The CSX, from what was explained to us, is coming from Jacksonville and returning to Jacksonville from here. The other ones, various points in between. So there's, you know, switching off of that line and going into other places, but until I can sit down and talk with that rail master, really understand who all those different short lines are. Of course, there's also one that goes from Winter Haven along 7th Street all the way down into Bartow. That's another typical short line that you'll see running sometimes that can have some impact there along Snively Avenue and Lake Ship Drive.
I just think most people train traffic is CSX.
And they own the corridor, but there's a lot of different operators upon it.
The quick question, Tracy brought up a good point in terms of a disaster. Do we have a plan in place if we have a derailment of some sort in the city? I know we have disaster preparedness for other things, but what about that?
So I would defer to public safety on that primarily, but I can tell you that if it's anything involving hazardous waste, hazmat type response, toxic chemicals, things which could be fuel, you know, in and of itself. We work in partnership with the Polk County Emergency Management Team, and county has a hazmat response team that is called upon whenever you have that occur. I think it depends upon what the incident is. Certainly there's plans for train derailments and train issues, just the same as there is for aviation disasters that we may face. Typically what you're dealing with is the casualty aspect of it, like if you had a passenger rail issue there. If it's dealing with chemicals and such, it's a hazmat approach, and they are coordinated with our county folks and our mutual aid from the other agencies to respond to that. Have they tabletopped for that exercise? I looked at Charlie and asked that question. I don't know if we've ever tabletopped a specific rail disaster.
That's being discussed by the RFP right now.
Oh, good. I was gonna say, when y'all have your meetings, you may want to bring that up. It sounds like you already have, so good job. Okay, anything else, Tracy?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, I just have a few things that have already been talked about. I attended the peace meeting, and I did come to the neighborhood service center, but you know, you were gone, and so I do no work.
I do all the work and then you come, that's typical.
That's all I had to do was eat, and the food was great. So, thank you for working.
You're welcome.
Attended the sunrise service at MLK Park, and it was the second service since the park reopened, and it's really always a great event because it's the ministers that participate, the different churches. They constantly remind us that 11 o'clock on Sunday mornings is the most segregated time in our nation. And that's still the case. And the way they do it is the Interfaith Ministerial Alliance. And last year, a Black minister brought the message, and this year had a white minister to bring the message. So it was well attended. And the weather was probably the best weather that I can remember in the last 15 years, really, where it wasn't hot, it wasn't cold, it wasn't foggy, and it wasn't raining. So it was was a good event. Attended the 31st anniversary celebration for our pastor. And I have to mention that because our church is one of the oldest churches in this community. We're over 140 years old, older than the city of Winter Haven. And our pastor, Reverend Dollison, in fact, his actual 31st anniversary date was this past Sunday, Easter Sunday, is when he preached his first sermon as the pastor of First Missionary Baptist Church. And so that was a grand celebration for us. And I really thank the community for supporting the CDC Night for Community Banquet.
Can you hear me?
JP,
Yes.
you're up.
Okay, thank you very much. Have nothing to report other than still doing treatment. Finished round one of the one part of the treatment plan today. And we'll start back up on the main regimen on May 1st. And getting, believe it or not, thank the good Lord, getting my appetite back, getting some strength back. Okay, T. Michael, I can see you laughing. And getting solid foods again, and things are moving forward. And got some good reports, things that are starting to look up. And I appreciate all the cards and the emails and things that I'm getting from various people. So thank you very much.
Well, JP, we're all
Yes.
praying for you. We're thinking about you. You're on our mind all the time. So you keep fighting a good fight, and know you got a lot of people pulling for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be brief. I just want to thank everybody for showing up today for the EV charging. I got to thank MJ. He's the one that's listened to me the most about it, and T, and our staff have really done a good job putting this finally to bed. And I know it's not a big deal at this point, but it will be, I promise. This is not going away. It's just going to get more and more important to our community. And I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen. So that doesn't mean all gasoline engines are going away, but I'm telling you, and I wouldn't jump in my car or try to drive to California and back, but I've been to Tallahassee, I've been to Miami. It's not a problem. So anyway, thank you to all the staff that made that happen. I had an interview with a Southeastern intern named Micah Bennett. She and T, I think she got you too, right?
Yes, sir.
Just gave me a lot of hope in young people anymore because she was so sharp and so asked all the right questions. And she's working on doing a project for Winter Haven. And I was able to give her some things that I would like to see, but she took all her notes on her phone. I'm sitting here talking to her and I was not used to that. You know, usually people are writing stuff down and she's talking to me the whole time, looking at me, typing them with her two thumbs. And I'm thinking, wow, that's the future.
Spend some time with MJ.
Huh?
Spend some time with MJ. You'll get the
That how he
same
does
treatment.
it too? Okay.
You know, even me, I'm getting into it, but you know, with us older generation, when people see us on our phones, if I'm taking notes, they think I'm not taking notes, that I'm reading emails or something. And so I'm trying to get used to it because I take notes in church, but I write them, and I'm trying to graduate to, because I can work my thumbs. I mean,
She came and she had a questionnaire for me and I go, where is it? She goes, oh, no problem. And I'm like, okay. Anyway. Also, spent a couple of days at the boys and girls high school tennis championship, the county championship over here at the courts. And I got thanked numerous times by people, particularly parents that were up on the top. They'd set up their chairs and they were able to watch the youngsters play tennis, and it was a good time for everybody, and just made me glad that we did what we did over there with the tennis courts. I went to the Hartford Winter Haven Golf Tournament, and we did have a psychotic person there. I don't know if you knew that or not, but there was somebody that was actually crazy because I donated lunch with the mayor, and this guy paid $500 to have lunch with me. So we did have a crazy person there, and so anyway, congrats to Hartford Winter Haven. Last thing I was going to mention, Theater Winter Haven is doing a golf tournament too. So if anybody has any interest in playing golf, it's coming up in about 3 weeks out at the country club. There's still a few spots left. If anybody would like to jump in, that's going to be another really good fundraiser for our Theater Winter Haven. This is their first annual golf tournament and it's filling up quick. So if you want to play, don't contact Dan, contact to let me know, or Tom Lindsay. Dan would probably forget, so talk to me if you want to play. Okay, that's it for me. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commission and JP. It's great to hear your voice. As the mayor said, we're certainly keeping you, my family is keeping you and your family in our prayers. And, you know, many prayers for a speedy and hopefully good recovery. And it's great to hear your voice. Delighted to be at the EV opening, ribbon cutting. That's awesome. And I expect that's just hopefully, as we've indicated, just the first of many. So that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
City Manager.
Couple just very brief updates. We, as you may recall, at our last commission meeting, we had a presentation from Mr. Jarvis, Jay Jarvis from Polk County. We talked about some roadways, so I just want to follow back upon that. County Road 653 in Thompson and Old Bartow Road was the first roundabout that was under construction. That roundabout is open and operational. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to drive out there as of yet, but you can actually get all the way out to where South Point Elementary is under construction and see how quickly that's coming out on the ground. But that roundabout is operational. It's my understanding they may have some temporary like single laning of that just because they may have to do some striping, but nothing that would require it to be shut down for an extended period of time. My MJ Carnevale and myself went out this afternoon to the roundabout construction at Westlake Eloise Drive and Eloise Loop Road, and that seems to be progressing very quickly. The center of that roundabout is already constructed, the curbing around the center of it, some of the curbing along the sides, the drainage structures were in. Looked like the bulk of the lime rock base material was down. Given what we saw, you know, Jay thought it was, I think he said their contractor told him 60 days to get it done. Based upon what I saw today, I would certainly not put that past them. They are moving very fast on that, and that will certainly help with some of the traffic woes that are out there, trains and otherwise. So we're excited to see that come about. The only other item I would offer for you is that a reminder, I will be out of state beginning midday this Thursday until late or early evening Monday, attending a wedding. And I will have Charlie Bird stand in as acting city manager during my period away so that he is available to address any emergencies that may come up. And certainly I will be available via phone as need be. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Assistant City Clerk, you got anything? Okay, emergency matters not received for the agenda, motion to adjourn. Adjourn.